Hello everybody, it is Alexia. I am back with another video. This is going to be on John chapter 11. Excuse me, I just had to take a quick drink. So I posted a video about this new Bible that I got. I can link that little review in the description if you're interested, but it has a where to turn section. Most Bibles do. And I was looking through that section today and I found one that stuck out to me. It says, when God seems to delay, John 11, 1 through 44. And I read it and I didn't immediately have an intention to make a video. I was just going to kind of read it and meditate on it for my own, personal situation. But after I read it, I felt this could be helpful to other people kind of in the same season of waiting that I am, when you're praying and you're feeling like it's just not happening for you for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read, and then I have some points that I made. I did write these points down from the internet because I won't lie to you guys. I got to that conclusion on my own, but I'm not great with my words. I don't always come across super clear. So I wanted to write it down in a way where you would understand it. So that's why I use the internet. So let's go ahead and start. Lazarus dies at Bethany. Now a man was sick, Lazarus, from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair. And it was her brother Lazarus who was sick. So the sisters sent a message to him, Lord, the one you love is sick. When Jesus heard it, he said, this sickness will not end in death, but it is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha, her sister, and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then, after that, he said to the disciples, let's go to Judea again. Rabbi, the disciples told him, just now the Jews tried to stone you, and you're going there again? Aren't there 12 hours in a day? Jesus answered. If anyone walks during the day, he doesn't stumble because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks during the night, he does stumble because the light is not in him. He said this, and then he told them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm on my way to wake him up. Then the disciples said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will get well. Jesus, however, was speaking about his death, but they thought he was speaking about natural sleep. So Jesus then told them plainly, Lazarus has died. I'm glad for you that I wasn't there, so that you may believe. But let's go to him. Then Thomas, called Twin, said to his fellow disciples, let's go too, so that we may die with him. The resurrection and the life. When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Bethany was near Jerusalem, less than 2 miles away. Many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them about their brother. As soon as Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary remained seated in the house. Then Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Yet even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Your brother will rise again, Jesus told her. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me, even if he dies, will live. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she told him. I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who comes into this world. Jesus shares the sorrow of death. Having said this, she went back and called her sister Mary, saying in private, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." As soon as Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw that Mary got up quickly and went out. They followed her, supposing that she was going to the tomb to cry there. As soon as Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and told him, "Lord, if you had been there, my brother wouldn't have died." When Jesus saw her crying and the Jews who had come with her crying, he was deeply moved in his spirit and troubled. "Where have you put him?" he asked. "Lord," they told him, "come and see." Jesus wept. So the Jews said, See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Couldn't he who opened the blind man's eyes also have kept this man from dying?" The seventh sign, raising Lazarus from the dead. Then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. "Remove the stone," Jesus said. Martha, the dead man's sister, told him, I'm sorry, my dog is chewing on something in his kennel, and it's distracting me. Let me get through this. Martha, the dead man's sister, told him, "Lord, there is already a stench because he has been dead 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they removed the stone. Then Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you heard me. I know that you always hear me, but because of the crowd standing here, I said this, so that they may believe you sent me." After he said this, he shouted with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, bound hand and foot with linen strips, and with his face wrapped in cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unwrap him and let him go." So a couple things to note. From the beginning of him finding out that Lazarus was sick, he did mention this sickness will not end in death, but it's for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. So here, he's already saying he's not going to be dead. Not for long, at least. So here is one positive note we can see throughout here. And here's another one when he said, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm on my way to wake him up." So there's another sign here that it was always his plan to wake Lazarus up, to raise him from the dead. So here are the points I have written. So let me see. It says, Jesus delayed his arrival after hearing Lazarus was ill. He waited 2 more days, which in hindsight seems kind of harsh, right? Like, you love him and you wait 2 days? That seems a little out of our normal way of thinking. But there's a reason for it. So we often expect God to act quickly in our crisis, but his timing is not always immediate. Just as Jesus waited, we must learn patience and trust that God's timing is perfect. And the lesson in this is that waiting on God doesn't mean inaction. It means trusting his timing, even when it seems delayed. And we can see here with the earlier verses I pointed out, it was always his plan to wake Lazarus. It was not going to be the end of Lazarus. And I think that's why he didn't have a problem with waiting 2 days before he left, because he knew how it was going to end. What's another? So this verse specifically, John 11:15, I wrote some information down about as well. So he said, "I'm glad for you that I wasn't there so that you may believe, but let's go to him." This seems kind of harsh because it's following him saying Lazarus has died. But his delay served a greater purpose. It was to strengthen the disciples' faith. That's why he said, I'm glad that I wasn't there, so that you can see what's going to happen. So the lesson in this is trusting God's plan, even when it involves waiting. It leads to greater faith and belief in him. So we do see more instances of him saying, your brother will rise again. I am the resurrection. He was always planning on raising Lazarus. It was just in his own time. I feel like it can be really hard when you're in a season of waiting. I'm currently in that season. I'm praying for a specific thing every day, and it hasn't happened yet, and I'm wondering why it hasn't happened. I'm wondering, do I not deserve it? Am I not ready for it? I have all these things going through my head, but my whole point in reading this and my whole point in making this video was just to remember that there's always a reason. I think sometimes we have to wait for what we're asking for, because when we're in that season, we will learn and grow in that season. It will strengthen us. I think that's another reason. The reason here was so they could see him do that ultimate act that he had healed people before, but he had not raised them from the dead after 4 days before. So this was going to strengthen everyone's belief in him. But for today, I think if we're waiting on something and we haven't gotten it yet, I think there's a good reason. I think we can learn and grow and gain strength in that season of waiting. And I don't want to pretend like I know what everyone's season of waiting is. It's probably way worse than mine. I can't even imagine what kind of trials and tribulations some of you are going through, and I don't want to discredit your trials by making this video, but I just want to share this story and hopefully kind of help you have some faith and patience and trust in God's timing. That was kind of the whole point of the video in this little mini Bible study. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. And if you're going through a period of delay as well, I pray that God gives you strength and comfort during this time. And I hope that you can continue to praise him in spite of your trials and tribulations. Because as we see here, Lazarus didn't have to wait because there was a lack of love. Jesus loved him. He didn't have to wait for a lack of love. It wasn't that Jesus didn't care about him. It wasn't any of that. Jesus could wait those 2 days to go because he knew the final outcome. So, hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any other ones you would want me to make a video on, I can show this to you, and I can kind of wait a second and you can pause. And if there's a where to turn topic you would like me to do another video on, I can. I don't think I necessarily explain this in the most, knowledgeable sense. Like I said, I'm not great with words, guys. I'm sorry. But hey, if you want to, hear from someone who's real and learning just like you, this channel's perfect for you. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and God bless.